We're here today with Governor Carl Sanders, who was intimately involved in the creation of the State Bar of Georgia. And it's my privilege to be here and to ask Governor Sanders about his recollections of how the process involving the creation of the bar got started. Governor, thank you for being with me today and doing this. We greatly appreciate you taking your time.
Well, I'm delighted to do it, but I want people to understand that we're talking about something that occurred more than 50 years ago. And I will try to recollect what happened, when it happened, but 50 years is a long time. I'm glad I'm still alive in which to talk to you about it.
Yes, sir. Well, you look in great shape, and I'm sure you'll be able to give us plenty of edifying information today. But let me ask you this, Governor. Do you remember how or who first came to you about the creation of a state bar?
Yeah, I do. Holcomb Perry was the president of the state bar, and he came over to see me with Gus Cleveland and Harry Baxter, I think it was. And they said to me, you have the opportunity to pass a law that will create a state bar that will be beneficial for everybody. We haven't had anybody in the governor's chair that has been in a position to do what we know is needed to be done as far as the Bar Association is concerned. Will you entertain the support of and the introduction of a bill creating the state bar? I had been thinking about it. I knew what they wanted to talk about. And I told them that I would support the creation of the state bar and would do everything that I could to see that the law got passed, because the state bar at that time was like a toothless tiger. It met once a year for social activity somewhere in the state, but so far as having any authority to really create an organization where lawyers were expected to be good lawyers and to be worthy of their calling as a lawyer, we didn't have anything much to offer the people that had to be dealt with lawyers at that time.
Well, Governor, do you recall what your role was after you'd had these conversations with the bar leaders?
And I told them I would join with them and support the passage of the organization of the state bar. And I got with the leadership that I had appointed and told them that this was something that I was going to do. I talked with the leaders in the Senate, some of the lawyers that I knew. You probably know of them. Charlie Parnell, which is Judge Parnell's father, Julian Webb, down deep South Georgia, Milton Carlton, who is the father of Mac Carlton, who is one of the partners in this law firm. And I told them that I wanted us to support the bill to put some teeth in the state bar organization so that they could give a better picture and better representation for people who needed legal advice. I then went over to see my friend George C. Smith. George C. would normally, being from deep South Georgia, he normally would not have been really supportive of this issue, but I told George C. that I needed his help, and I wanted him to help me get the legislation passed that the state bar was interested in. He agreed to do that. I've got Arthur Bolton, who was my floor leader, to agree to handle the bill in the House, and that's the group that I used to pass this law. We didn't have quite as articulate a group in the Senate because there are not that many lawyers normally in the Senate, but in the House we had some pretty good lawyers and some strong advocates of why we should not pass this bill. And every time they would talk about it, they'd talk about Abraham Lincoln studying law by candlelight. And they said if it was good enough for Abe Lincoln, it ought to be good enough for Georgia not to be forced into an organization like the State Bar. Well, we had the battle in the House, and we passed it in the House, and that, of course, gave us the State Bar legislation on which you and others have built this great State Bar that we have. It was born in need. There are a lot of lawyers in the House besides Arthur Bolton. There's Ben Johnson, who later became the dean at Emory. He was heavily involved in it. Just a lot of lawyers that had not had an opportunity in the past to fight the battle to create the State Bar organization. That's how it was born. That's how it came into creation. And so far as I know of, and so far as I think the people who have been involved in the practice of law, we have an organization, a State Bar organization now that has authority to discipline lawyers if they need discipline, to provide opportunities for State Bar organizations that they would not have been involved in. And you, as the president of the State Bar, have got that responsibility on your back now.
You know, the movement to create a state bar or incorporate a bar started back in the 1920s, and it took 4 decades to get that accomplished. Why do you think it took so long?
The main reason was that there were a lot of lawyers who really were not practical or good lawyers, and they didn't want to get involved in an organization that put them on the floor of how they really represented themselves as lawyers. There were too many individuals who claimed to be lawyers who didn't want to have anything to do with a State Bar organization, and they put up that story about Lincoln, and they were effective. Up until I was elected governor, we had some governors that were lawyers, but they had never taken the interest in supporting the creation of the State Bar organization that I took. And I guess I took it because I felt like it was needed, and I was young enough at the time to where I was foolish enough to think I could do something about helping create this organization. And it turned out to be something that I'm proud that I had some part in giving birth to it.
Well, Governor, looking back 50 years since the creation of the bar, where would you rank this in terms of your achievements as governor?
I'd rank it very high. I have spent all my adult life in the practice of law, and I think without the legislation that I undertook to create this State Bar, I don't know where we would stand today, but I know this, we wouldn't be as strong, we wouldn't have the talent that people like you and others who represent the State Bar of Georgia, and we wouldn't have some of the judges that have been elevated through the new process. It's just a completely new organization where you've got some discipline and you've got some authority to require people who profess to be good lawyers, make sure that they are good lawyers and make sure that they serve the public.
Well, Governor, we're here today to honor you for your role in the creation of the bar, and the bar has decided that you are certainly worthy of receiving our first and only Founders Award. What I'd like to do at this time is to present to you a token from the State Bar in appreciation for your role 50 years ago in helping create what we think is an incomparable State Bar organization.
You're very kind to talk about my participation. I feel like that whatever I've done to enrich the practice of law and to provide an organization that can ensure that we have competent, able lawyers to carry out the needs of the people is something that I'm proud of, but it's something that I'm proud that the organization that you are president of today is as strong and is as able as it is, because it sure wasn't that way when we started back 50 years ago.
Governor, first I want to present to you what is entitled the State Bar of Georgia Founders Award presentation for Governor Carl Sanders. And I'm just going to read the last paragraph because your accomplishments are so extensive we really don't have time to go through all of that today. But the last paragraph of this resolution says, "Now therefore be it resolved that the State Bar of Georgia does express its gratitude and appreciation to Governor Carl E. Sanders for his significant contributions to bring unity, high standards, and a system of discipline to the practice of law in this state by presenting him with the Founders Award in observance of the 50th anniversary of the establishment of the State Bar of Georgia."
Thank you very much. I appreciate those remarks. I'm proud that I'm able to stand here today and have you present me with the award, and I hope that the State Bar will continue to carry out the great responsibility that they have.
This is an original painting of the State Bar building of the State Bar of Georgia, and this was done by Tommy Easterling, and it's an oil painting, and at the bottom of it there's a plaque affixed, if I can just read that, and it says State Bar of Georgia Founders Award, Governor Carl E. Sanders, 50th anniversary of the State Bar, January 10, 2014, and we hope you will place this in a prominent place in your office or your home. It's a well-deserved honor, Governor.
Well, I appreciate the honor, and I'm particularly appreciative of the fact that the Georgia artist painted this portrait. My wife, of course, is an artist, and she will appreciate the art that is represented on this occasion. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor.